Wrestling is trash. Wrestling is trash.
And welcome back to another episode of Wrestling is Trash, a nonsensical podcast where we talk everything professional wrestling, the past, the present, and quite possibly the future. I am one of your co-hosts of Wrestling is Trash, Nick Anicelli, joined by fellow trash boy Lou, who will introduce himself here in a second. But man, we had a hell of a weekend. Past 5 days, shit, just in general, the past 2 weeks, week and a half of wrestling, news and matches and everything, it's kind of been off the charts. You had a big name from AEW that we talked about last week, jumping to Raw, well, WWE. And then on Sunday, we had a Rated R Superstar debut in AEW, which some, and I'll dive into it, maybe thought you'd never see someone like an Adam Copland showing up. And we're going to be diving into all of that today. But before we do that, Lou, my man, how are you doing?
Lou from the BX, host of the Everything Podcast, co-host of Wrestling is Trash, your favorite podcaster's favorite podcaster. And I'm going to start the show off by taking a page out of Seth Rollins' book and saying, I hate football.
Yep, I'm with you.
Hate football. I really hate it. It makes me sick. And you know what I hate about it the most is that if you guys have been watching the show for, however long you've been watching it, I'm not a trash talker. Like, I don't like talking trash when my like if I go to somebody's house and my team's playing their team, I'm not like, I'm celebrating. Like, when we score a touchdown, I'm like, yeah, touchdown, all that bullshit. But I'm not like in your face doing some UFC finger pointing shit and again, yeah, you fucking guys suck. Oh, Giants. I don't do that. Because first of all, I feel like an asshole doing that. And number two, I hate being shit talked. So I don't do it so that people can never say I shit talk them. Because I get enraged when people do that shit to me. So I don't do it to people. And it seems like because I don't do it, people do it to me twice as much. Like, they just love to, when they see me. I already have one of my guys who works for me, which I already told him, I'm like, hey, bro, I'm your boss. You need to, like, relax with that shit. I'm going to fucking fire you. And then I have another guy who is like, he's like the me at another store. And every week we have like a group call with the big bosses and all that shit. And it's on FaceTime and it's always on Tuesday. So he always wants to say something. He's a Cowboys fan.
Oh,
so he's always got to bring it up. Hey, Luz, man, I know you over there in Davie. And, sorry about those Giants. And I always got to fucking hear it. And that's the thing that I hate the most. It's like, yo, leave me alone, bro. I don't bother y'all. Leave me alone. But it's like they love to do it. So I hate football.
I'm
next
right
to me is the fucking Giants hat right here.
Yeah, I'm right there. And I think kind of both of us on the same page here. And I'm not saying it to be biased, but I think the Patriots maybe just a little more than the Giants. But for the past 15 years, both of our teams have been good, have won multiple Super Bowls. And now it's like we're both in that transition period where it's like everyone talks shit because it's like, oh, you're not good anymore. And it's like, man, get the fuck out of here. And then, of course, I try not to be the guy to be like, yeah, well, we won 6 Super Bowls in 20 years.
Right.
But then it's like, I try not to be that guy. But on the horizon is another favorite sport of yours and I's, NBA. And I think the Celtics and Knicks kick off the season.
Yeah, great for me. More fucking the Knicks. Woo!
I don't
so
care.
Great. The Celtics just got Drew Holiday. They just beefed up. The Bucks just got fucking. They just got better.
They got
with Dame. So it's like, okay, great. The Heat are still good. The Heat are gonna fucking be the Heat. So it's great. I got another year of.
I don't care though. No one beats the Knicks fans. Y'all motherfuckers are so wild on Twitter when y'all win, and especially when y'all take shots at KD.
And it's funny because I say I don't talk trash. I'll do it on Twitter because I'm speaking like generally. Like
Yeah.
I'm just putting it out onto Twitter to no one. I'm not adding people unless somebody's come at me or whatever. Then I have to, retort. But like on Twitter, forget it. That's a whole different thing. I'm a piece of shit on social media when the Knicks win or do anything. I'm a piece of shit.
Oh, you cracked me up.
Directed at anyone in general, I say it to everybody.
Hey.
So that's the difference.
Hey, it'd be like that, and it's just, and that's, I guess, transition to the wrestling side of things. Like, we'll do that, but then there's people who get very, very offended over the shit talking on Twitter. And I guess to dive into the big headline news item, a lot of people back and forth about Adam Copeland, Edge. We're gonna say both names during the show, so please forgive us.
Yes, you're gonna hear Edge, you're gonna hear Adam Copeland, so just deal with it.
Especially, because a lot of people like myself, and I'm happy he's there. I think it's great. I think if we didn't say it last week, he kind of said it himself, and I agree. He did everything in WWE. Multiple-time Royal Rumble winner, multiple-time Money in the Bank winner, main evented WrestleMania with The Undertaker, main evented other WrestleManias, won every single title 12 times, in the Hall of Fame. Like, don't get me wrong.
Retired as champion.
Yeah, retired as champion the first time. Went out his second time against an opponent and a friend in his hometown of Toronto. Like, there was just, and WWE's kind of probably thought the same thing like him. There ain't shit to do. He's got this fresh roster of great talent that he can work with. So it's like that. This, I think, in my opinion, Lou, is a true example of the tribalism on both sides. The reason I say both sides is because the WWE homers are like, oh yeah, Edge, he's washed up, blah, blah, blah. Like, no offense, no homo, pause, whatever it be. Edge has more of a six-pack now than he did back in the day. Edge does not look washed up. All his matches were good. The only flaw I think you could say in an Edge match, and it's on him because he loves storytelling, which sometimes his matches are long as fuck, though. I think we can all agree on that. They're long. If the not most recent, but one that always comes to mind is his first WrestleMania during the COVID with Randy, that last man standing match. I went on for like 45 minutes.
Well, they had the greatest match, the greatest wrestling match of all time, or whatever.
Yeah,
greatest wrestling match ever.
That always bothered me because if you never labeled it as that's what it was going to be, it was actually a really great match.
Yeah,
but you put it up to this standard.
But you can't say something is the greatest ever. That's why I get annoyed with this John Cena shit. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and debate John Cena's place in like the Mount Rushmore of whoever. I'm not gonna debate that. Like, I'm not saying he's not great or he's whatever. I'm not the most gigantic John Cena fan, but I have respect for him, everything he's done or whatever. But this fucking shit where every time he comes out, they have to now say the greatest of all time. Yeah. John's, it's like, come on, bro. You're really the greatest of all time. He's better than Flair. He's better than Steamboat. Yeah. He's better than Hogan in his prime. I mean, he's better than name people. He's better than Sting.
And that's where it's bad to say that in a way, because this is where the sports entertainment wrestling thing comes in, because he's not the greatest wrestler of all time. You could argue in some maybe opinion sports entertainer because of his character, all the bullshit he's done, right? Like, you can make the argument. So it's just this is what it's like with this, because Edge is, now I won't ever say a go or things like, but he's one of the greatest. Edge is great. He's always had a great character. He's done phenomenal heel work. I think he's a better heel than a face. But then you got the AEW fans who are like very happy only because the WWE people are pissed. Yeah. And it's like, like, this isn't it, man. I thought it was a great debut. Thought it was awesome. I know a lot of people. Actually, you go. Give me your thoughts. I don't want to keep going. But yeah, so I thought it was great, and I'm happy about this. And
as far as Edge coming, I have a lot of different little things here about this. So I'm happy shit. I'm happy shit to see Edge happy. I'm happy to see something different happening in AEW. Look, you gotta understand. Right now, we're in this tribalistic shit. Like, I don't understand why people are so like. I don't understand that shit. I mean, coming from like, we love sports and all that. And again, I just was talking about how I don't like talking trash, but I guess it's part of like that sports thing where like you pick your team and this is my team and the other team sucks and I hate them and blah blah blah. I guess that's part of this thing with the wrestling thing. Like people just pick their thing and they don't care what's happening on the other side. It could be awesome. They don't care. They just like it sucks, it's terrible, blah 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 blah. So it's like, why wouldn't you be happy for Edge to move on to another wrestling company and the guy looks happy and you watch that scrum and he talks about how excited he is about he wants to work with this person, he wants to work with Swerve, he wants to work with Kenny Omega, he wants to work with Daniel Bryan again, he's never been in the ring with Sting. Like, why would you not be happy for that dude? And especially like he put out this long post on Twitter, which was like 4 tweets altogether, and I was reading it and I was like, wow, this is like really heartfelt. He's saying like, it's all wrestling. Like, I don't know why people have to pick a side. I don't buy into that shit. I don't really think like that. Wrestling is wrestling, and we all the boys don't think like that. The boys all think, hey, we're all in this. There's all different flavors and blah blah blah. And then you read this whole thing, and then you go into the comments, and motherfuckers is like, nah, you're washed. You suck. You betrayed it. You betrayed Vince. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I don't get those people at all. I really don't. Because I personally was happy to see it. And this past 2 weeks has been nothing but tribalistic shit on Twitter. Between Jade going to WWE and then all the rumors of Edge, people were like, no, Edge is not going. It's not going to happen. He's not going to go to that t-shirt company. Then he goes and they're like, oh, well, he's just going there for one. Now the thing, have you seen that? Now the thing is he's only going to be here 1 year and he's going to go back. That's the new thing now. They're all like, oh, he's only going to do 1 year. 1 year. He's going to come back in 1 year. I'm like,
if Edge,
what is wrong with y'all?
If Edge ever goes back, it's only going to be for like a Royal Rumble.
He'll go back.
Yeah, or maybe he does have his last match ever there. Like maybe he does that. But that's it. But if he finishes in AEW, I wouldn't be shocked either.
And I was gonna say he'll definitely go back for the Hall of Fame, but he's already a Hall of Famer. He already did that. So
He like not in a fucked up way. In the honest truth, he has no reason to ever go back.
Yeah, he's pretty much done.
He's done
everything. About all the stuff he's accomplished and all the stuff he's gotten. He's got the Hall of Fame induction already. He's not gonna get another title run. I mean, I wouldn't think they're gonna do that. He's done it all. He came back, won the Royal Rumble from first place.
Yeah.
He won the championships. He retired as champion. Like, he tag team championships. He had the final match at home. Like, he's done pretty much everything he could possibly do over there. So,
no. And then it's nuts because once again, the internet on both fan bases side, because during the scrum, Edge is like, oh, I felt free. So the AEW fans are like, see, WWE doesn't let you do anything. And it's been well documented that on this return of Edge, he's been very involved with creative. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he made the Judgment Day. Like, you know what I mean? And then the WWE fans were jumping in making fun of them because he said, like, oh, I felt like when I used to be back on my indie scenes. And if you really look at what he said, like being free and stuff, it's like it's a whole new all this dude knows is one company, right? And like another podcast I was listening to, it's like you had Jericho, right, who did ECW, WCW, WWE, then before even AEW, dabbled in New Japan. Like, Edge is that first, no shit,
right.
Edge is that first homegrown 25, 30 years plus in the same company and jumped. Of course, that's going to be an exciting feeling. There could have been 300 people there, and that would have been exciting because it's different. And he's in there, and everyone keeps forgetting he's in there with his legit best friend. Like,
right.
You know? So, but now I remember we talked about it last week. I'm happy the debut, but I'm happy with the question of essentially I'm happy I'm going to see his first pay-per-view match over the debut. The debut would have been cool, don't get me wrong now. But
yeah. So here's a funny thing. I have a couple threads here. So I went to the theater to see Wrestle Dream. As you guys know, I posted online on our page, which you can follow, Wrestling is Trash on Instagram. I have a couple things actually. So before I talk about the Edge thing, on this show, we've done something in the past few episodes. We haven't done it in a while because I kind of wanted this to happen organically, and I'm glad it's happening this way. So we had the 10 trash commandments that we been working on, and we came up with 3, and it's been a few months. We haven't had another one pop up, but for me, it's like, I want this list. I'd be happy to get this list at 10 by the end of the year, but I want it to happen organically. I don't want to just be like, oh, let's think of, no, I don't want to do that. I know as it happens. And I added a 4th one this week. So if you guys don't remember, the first 10 trash commandment is wear deodorant at wrestling shows. That's number 1. Number 2, leave people alone at the airport. Number 3, stop being a mark. And I've added number 4. And Nick, I don't know if you saw it that I wrote it in there.
Yeah.
Number 4 is don't be that guy. Now, what I mean by that is I went to the theater to watch this pay-per-view. And luckily this time I was sitting by myself. I didn't have anybody sitting next to me. So I was very happy because usually every seat is taken and I'm sitting next to some random dude. And it ends up being cool because, it's cool. You have the camaraderie there. Everybody's talking and blah, 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 blah. But I was pretty happy to have the chair to myself and put my popcorn and my stuff on the seat next to me. So I have my space to move around. I'm a big guy, so it's nice to have that space. And there was a dude with some people. I always sit on the end. I either sit on one end or the other. I rarely sit in the middle. That's just a New Yorker in me. I want to be able to get the fuck out immediately if some shit goes down. So I'm always sitting on the end. So I'm sitting on the right side or on the left side, and on the complete opposite side of me in the other side of the theater, there's a dude. This fucking guy was screaming he thought he was like the comedian of the theater. So he thought he was like Mr. Funny Guy. So everything he wanted to say, every joke that he thought he needed to say, he said it at like level 15. Like he had to scream it for everyone in the theater to understand exactly where he is. And I'm the guy and it's me. So whenever the Young Bucks or Hangman Adam Page or Kenny Omega popped up on the screen, he starts going, CM Punk, CM Punk, CM Punk. And I literally, the first time I just looked over, I was like, oh, okay, whatever, guy. The second time, the third time, the 4th time, I was like, shut the fuck up. And he literally was just ignoring me. Like, he didn't even look over. People were yelling shit at him, and he just, like, he didn't care. He was just, like, in his own world. And I'm thinking to myself, like, am I being a dick? Like that Reddit thing, am I the asshole? It was like, am I the asshole for, like, taking this guy's fun away? Or is this guy being a complete dick? And I'm like, no, this guy was being a complete dick. Because everybody in there was yelling and excited and oohing and eyeing every time we saw something cool happen. And we were talking to, like, I was saying shit to people in the top row. They were answering me. We were talking to people. But this dude was just like overbearingly screaming everything and like pretending he was the only one in the theater. So if you're at a wrestling show and you're behaving in that fashion, or you're at a movie theater watching a professional wrestling event on pay-per-view and everyone's trying to enjoy it, please don't be that guy. Don't be that dickhead who thinks he's fucking Eddie Murphy, or can I think of a more dated comedian? I don't know any of these newfangled comedians. So don't be that guy. That's the 4th one. Okay. We're just going to add that in there. So going back, when they showed the feature presentation thing that popped up when they did right before they did the reveal of Edge, and they played that little video.
Sami Callihan.
Exactly. Sami Callihan plays that little feature thing on Impact. So when they played that, I was like, oh shit. And I have it. I recorded I'm gonna kill this dog. I recorded the debut on my phone. And you hear me yell out, oh my God, it's fucking it's Sami Callihan. And it's funny because when they showed him, he had the leather, the black leather, and the spikes and all that shit. I thought immediately it was Sami Callihan because that's what he wears.
They did a good job with that. Like, I know that was the intention.
So here's the thing. Well, this is aside from what I'm talking about now. I think Sami Callihan's going to show up on Wednesday. But besides that, I was so happy to... Hold on a second, because I'm going to fucking murder this dog. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, but like kind of Lou saying he's going to go into it more, but it's just
Okay.
a sick debut.
So here's the thing. Not only was I happy that it was Edge, I was super happy that it wasn't Sami Callihan. Because can you imagine if it would have been Sami Callihan who would have debuted at the end of the show instead of Edge? Do you know how these fucking marks would have been laughing at AEW? You guys thought you were getting Edge and you got the Impact guy, but because I love Sami Callihan.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would have popped, but
Just not Edge pop.
everybody was expecting Edge. They set it up to where, like, if it wasn't Edge, it was going to be a disaster. So I was like, oh my God, thank God it wasn't Sami, because Sami deserves to get a good debut and to like be appreciated instead of to be like the butt of somebody's joke, like, oh, you're not Edge, blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, in my
I was very
opinion,
happy to see Edge.
In my
for multiple
opinion,
reasons.
I think if that would have been anyone but Edge, that would have been on the level if it wasn't Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania and if it wasn't CM Punk at that first AEW Rampage. Like, in my opinion, right? Now, if Edge never showed up, say the show would have went off air, I still, like I was saying to you, I think it would have been fine. But if anyone but Edge would have debuted, returned, whatever, then it would have been like that.
Yeah, I really think, like, again, I loved the pay-per-view. And we'll talk more about the pay-per-view in a minute. I love the show. But if Edge wouldn't have debuted, it definitely would have had a stink on it. Just because of because of the expectation that everybody put on it. And again, Tony again with the new era bullshit. There's gonna be a new era. There's gonna be a new era. He said that shit like 6 times last week.
Yeah.
So people were like, okay, something's gonna happen here. What's it gonna be?
So do you like how they do this? Like, it's wrestling. Both companies as a whole have done it, right? Because CM Punk was the worst kept secret. Cody Rhodes was the worst kept secret. Edge is obviously the worst kept secret. And now I kind of want to transition to one last thing before we dive into just the shows or whatever. And we'll keep talking as we go. But so now, because of this, instantly online, people were saying, and I saw some good ones behind. You had the WWE marks who were like, oh, CM Punk's coming back now. But then there are people who are saying, like, no, he's going to come back because you kind of, like, it sounds, and this is just sports, right? This is life. You got to give something back.
Yeah.
Right? And in the past few weeks, there has been CM Punk references on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, once again, with Seth Rollins. Poor Seth Rollins, man. He better not drop the title to Punk. But
oh my God.
Yeah, he better not, because Seth did the job for Cody coming in.
Nah, I need to see, if CM Punk comes back, I need to see him go directly to Roman Reigns. Like, directly.
See, I don't think so. Though I would love that. Only because all these references have been coming on Raw and always somehow involved. Cody said some things too, but it's all been on Raw.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Everything's just been coming on Raw. But with all the references everyone's translating online, the BWE Twitter page, which is heavily involved in WWE, like, that's the one page, I think I said it last week, if that was someone internal, it wouldn't shock me. And he's saying, like, well, you never know and things. So long story short, we kind of gave our thoughts before, but now with all this, and now the references and Adam showing up there, do you think
Adam?
Oh, how great would that be on Wednesday? But they got to do it. How do you think he's coming back?
I've been saying this. He's coming back for sure.
So
I think, especially after last night, 100% they're bringing CM Punk back. So you think
they're going the obvious route at Survivor Series or waiting to like a Rumble thing?
It's too perfect. It's in Chicago, bro. Like, it's too perfect. It's a big pay-per-view. It's one of the top 4. Remember what I always said before, top 4 pay-per-views when I was growing up: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Survivor Series, and SummerSlam. Yeah. Those were the ones. So this is one of those big ones. It's too perfect, bro. It's too perfect. And they want to, and I feel like, yes, the whole Jade Cargill is there. She's going to make a splash. They're going to debut her when they're ready. But that news is already out there. So you're already expecting that to happen. I think they want to make another splash because kind of like AEW just made a big fucking splash with Edge, like really big. So I think, I would think WWE would want to make another splash. And man, I don't know. There's just too many things adding up. Like a few months ago, he went back to that. He went to Raw in Chicago and was like trying to make amends with people and shit. And I think I think there was, at the time, I didn't think too much of it. I was just kind of like,
because he was still under contract.
Yeah, he's still under contract. He's just there because it's Chicago. I didn't really think too much of it. But damn, now I'm like, hey man, what? Shit's different. Different owners.
And then Shawn Michaels. You heard what Shawn Michaels said about him too, right?
But, really, we're gonna send CM Punk to fucking NXT.
No, but I think is who's his best friend.
Yeah. So I'm pretty certain that he's gonna show up at Survivor Series.
And this is what's cool though about all of this. Now because AEW is finishing up like its initial time, so now it's getting to the point where contracts are renewing on both ends, right? Because I know next year, I think Sammy's comes up at some point next year. Drew's comes up at some point next year. Sheamus's comes up at some point next year. Then on the AEW side, I know Ricky Starks' comes up. I think they said Hobbs' is coming up. Wardlow's, MJF. So boom.
So question, is this the biggest, obviously besides CM Punk, is this the biggest quote unquote WWE guy that's come over from AEW? Jericho kind of was already away from WWE and he helped found, he was doing the whole Wrestle Kingdom thing and, he was already out at that point.
I say, so here's the thing, and I'm going to ask you the question because I want the listeners to throw out theirs. I think this is bigger than Punk. The reason I say that is because Punk was gone for a minute.
Yeah.
Edge just wrestled in August, the end of August, in a WWE ring. Was at WrestleMania this year in a Hell in a Cell match, high profile feud. Won the Royal Rumble in main event at WrestleMania 2 years ago. He's been frequently there. But then, I asked you in the pre-show, and if we can elaborate more. But so I think Edge is the biggest WWE signing, but he won't make an impact like Punk. And what I mean by that is, and I hope I'm wrong because I love Edge. I love Edge. He's one of my favorites of all time. Always have been, always will be. But I think ratings, right? We don't discuss ratings in regards to what we think. We just speak the news. Ratings from this will probably go up, right? You got to think in the beginning. It's just Punk, even though he was not that successful at it, he had that UFC name. Punk was more of a level name than Edge, if I don't know if that makes sense. I think viewership's gonna go up, but I don't think, and I hope I'm wrong, because like I said, I love Edge. I can't see Edge being the reason they're over 1 million viewers every week like Punk was. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But we'll see what the buy rates from these pay-per-view are with Edge and stuff like that. But Punk means business, right? And I was texting our buddy Dan, he's been on the show before. Punk, even the 7 years he didn't wrestle, he was always in the news somehow. When Edge was gone for 9 years. Now, granted, I think it's because everyone thought he was actually retired. He wasn't anywhere, but I don't know. What's your kind of take on it? So do you think Edge is a bigger signing than Punk? And then what do you think about business-wise?
No.
Who brings it more?
No, man. I think Punk was much bigger. Strictly because we've discussed this ad nauseum. I know people are probably sick of hearing him CM Punk, but when that dude was gone, they chanted that fucker's name for 7 years, bro. They chanted CM Punk over and over and over again on different shows, on pay-per-views, on Raws, on SmackDowns. They just chanted CM Punk all the fucking time. Even when they died down a little bit, they would pick back up. So him coming back on that Rampage was monumental. It was the biggest thing ever. Honestly, for me, who I liked CM Punk, I wasn't the number one CM Punk fan, but I liked him a lot. I was super hyped when he came back. So again, I'm super excited about Edge being in WWE, but I really think Punk was the bigger signing. Now, what I will say about Edge is that I think the Edge thing is going to have bigger ramifications to AEW because
Locker
Edge
room
is
leader.
Edge along with Brian, super well respected, very well liked, you know, legends. And I think you have the potential to kind of pull some people who might want to be, you know, people who are thinking about re-signing and all those road days and 300 plus days on the road, and you know, Edge is on the phone with you. He's like, "Hey, bro, I'm over here and this shit is lit. Like, I'm working full time, but I'm half the days, and I'm over here with this young guy and this guy over here and this girl over here, and they're fucking awesome, and we're doing this and that, and you could come over here, bro, and
It's just
join the fun." You know what I'm saying? Like, he has a potential to pull some people over who kind of on the fence, maybe like a AJ Styles or like a
Sheamus.
Finn Balor, you know, some people like that, people who have ties to like the elite from, you know, back in the day.
But so hear me out on this part, because I agree, and I think Edge can do that. Locker room leader, teach people, because Edge great with promos, great and all that, right? Like he's amazing at pretty much everything he does in the ring, outside of the ring. He's only going to be in headlines for good things, unlike Punk, who had his bad reps. But am I wrong? Like, I love that because it's true. Because like Edge is going to have more pull than, like, in my opinion, Edge has more pull at getting, say, someone like a Ricochet, who would talk to him instead of maybe like Ricochet talking to, I don't know, like Jay White, right? Because it's like, yeah, they're boys and stuff like that, I'm assuming, but like Edge has got that star power, you know what I mean? But am I wrong for thinking like I really don't want a lot of those names jumping over? Not because like, oh, stand up, but like the homegrown side of things.
Yeah, that's one thing for me that I'm like, I hate free agency, honestly. It's good sometimes because you get, you know, you'll get players on your team that you really like. But I hate it because, like, especially for the teams that I like, what's been my experience with free agency is that we build a team up, like the Giants with their defense, and then it gets picked apart in the offseason when they win a championship. And now you go into the next year and you are all fucked up because they took really good people away from you. So I'm all about the healthy competition between the two companies.
Yeah.
But I would really like to see some loyalty also. Like the people who are like, they can't all be switching back and forth, like all of them. Like, that would fucking suck. You know, you want to have some people who stay, you know, and some people who don't stay. Like Jade Cargill is a perfect example. Jade Cargill, when I first saw her, and she started wrestling more and she was on TV more, I was like, bro, she should be in the WWE. Like, she just fucking looks like a superhero. Like, she just looks, bro. No, I said the same shit last week, bro. Nobody looks like Jade Cargill. She looks like she's like somebody created her in a laboratory. Like, she's giant, she's beautiful, she's ripped, she's got abs. Like, I don't even know abs could look like that. Her quads and her everything, like every muscle on her body's defined. Like, she's smart. She's got a business sense. She's smart about sports and all types of other shit. She's not just like a wrestler, and she's not just a great wrestler. She's like all over the place. She's like an entrepreneur, and so's her husband. So it's like, I always saw her like I always saw her like bigger than life, and I'm like, damn, she would be tremendous in WWE. Whereas I don't want to see Ricky Starks in WWE. Like, I like Ricky Starks where he is, because I don't like what's Ricky Starks gonna do in WWE? He's gonna fucking feud with the Miz. Everybody can't feud with Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
You can't have everybody go and then feud with Seth. Like, okay, Seth, right now you're gonna feud with CM Punk now, and then in 6 months it's gonna be over, and Ricky's gonna come over. Now you're gonna feud with Ricky Starks, and you'll feud with Ricky Starks for a couple months, and then MJF is gonna come over. Now you're gonna feud with MJF. You can't do that.
Yeah,
Like,
and to be honest, and we've seen crazier things happen. So I don't knock him because I think he's very talented in the ring, Ricky. But like,
yeah,
In AEW, you could see him being a world champion eventually, or in the matches like he already has been. Like, I don't see that in WWE.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be mad if he showed up, and I think he might because of his close relationship with Cody. Like, come on, he was at the Rumble when Cody won.
Yeah.
But there's only really one person in AEW who I
Who was
kind of
that?
have.
That was Ryback, right? Ryback is the one that power bombed him through a table. He power bombed Ricky Starks through a table all those years ago. It was Ryback.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember where the fuck. I know Ricky Stark was on TV at one point. He got
Yeah,
power bombed through a table.
There's only one person I think in AEW that kind of I feel has that obvious Jade factor, and I think it's Wardlow. I think Wardlow, and maybe you can make an argument for Powerhouse Hobbs because he's insanely athletic and they like big people, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Wardlow's the number one obvious one that's like, all right, like you should jump over.
Like that's another Batista right there.
Yeah,
like, that's
like you jump
Batista
over,
right
you got the bomb over, you got, you know what I mean? Like you got all that. Like he's just an obvious one, just like Jade was an obvious one. Now let me ask you a question before we get into because I saw another actual decent Twitter conversation about it. I want to save it for the pod. Then we'll dive into the shows quick. So Mercedes Moné, massive women's star. We'll never ever argue that. I'm very biased because I just loved her work in WWE. I love what she's done outside of WWE. She's from, she's lived all over, but she, resides and everything out of Boston. So my neck of the woods. I'm very biased towards her. Beautiful, everything, right?
Mercedes Moné, sorry.
With her of showing up so far in a bunch of New Japan shows, which is awesome. She was at All In, so already an AEW show. When she shows up eventually in AEW, because it's going to happen. With her showing up kind of already and all the talks of it, obviously it's going to make headlines. But is it going to have that same feeling like when Edge showed up or these other people show up when she's kind of already been there? Because I had some people saying like yes for good reasons and no for good reasons. I kind of want your thoughts because I'm in the middle. I think it'd be massive because I honestly, I don't know why. For some reason, man, I don't see her just signing there. I think she really wants to travel. To different, like I don't see. I see Edge signing a year, well, not a year, like probably 2 to 3 year contract. I'm here. I don't see that out of her, but not for like ignorant reasons. Like, she wants to do movies. She wants to do other things but wrestle. Where Edge is like, I just want to wrestle. But do you kind of see why people could say like, yes, it's a massive deal, but also like, no, like it's like we've already seen her around everything. This was very inevitable. We all knew she was like. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like them showing her at what was it, All In, like showing her in the crowd or whatever. I was like, you flew her out there just to fucking sit in the crowd, like, because that day she was posting pictures. I was like, oh my god, she's in fucking London, bro. She's gonna be on the show, and like, I mean, I know that she was probably at that point still hurt, but I'm sure they could have done something with her on that show. You know what I mean, like backstage or something. Yeah. And they just had her sitting in the crowd, like watching the show. And I was like, oh, this is kind of whack. Like, because you like, honestly, with her, you want to use that reveal. You only get one of those. And just like you're talking about the discourse on Twitter that you saw, that's the reason why. You only get one of those surprise, like, holy shit, look who's here. You only get that once.
Yeah.
So the fact that they kind of like more or less wasted it on a throwaway, hey, look, Mercedes Moné's in the crowd. She'll be interested to see who's going to win this match. Like, okay, great. You just kind of like ruin that mystery about is she going to come, is she not? Because now you showed her, like, you know what I mean? So I personally love surprises. I don't like debuts where they announce, hey, for certain people that works. Like right now they're doing the Brian Pillman thing. Excuse me, guys, I have to scratch my back. They have the Brian Pillman thing going on with those like little vignettes that they're doing, which is we've talked about that on this show.
Yeah.
There's certain people who need that shit.
And he does.
There's certain people on Raw who show up on Raw and they could use things like that, like video packages. Show me who this person is, or play some old school 80s vignettes.
They're doing it with Jade right now. Not necessarily vignettes, but they're hyping her up.
Who is this guy? What does he want? Why is he here? Like, introduce us to these people so that when they show up, You go, oh, here it is. Here's their debut. And WWE used to be like really good at that. Like that was their shit. They used to do those all the time. I was watching. I was talking to somebody about because somebody hit me up about Bray Wyatt, and they were like, "Who?" Like they knew nothing about this guy, and they're like asking me like what's his character, and like he was like a monster or what is it? And I'm like, no, he was like. I had to go back and be like, look, he was like a cult leader. His character was kind of loosely based on this guy, and then I sent them a video of what's his name, Waylon Mercy. I sent them a Waylon Mercy promo, the old school promo with the sitting in the park talking about the children and the hot dogs and the hamburgers. That was a creepy motherfucker, and WWE was great at that. The Razor Ramon promos where he's walking down the street and with the gold and he spits the toothpick in the guy's face. When I saw that when I was a kid, I was like, yo, who is that motherfucker? I want to know who that guy is. So, you know, you need that kind of thing. And it works when you do that for certain people who are like a little bit lower on the totem pole. Like you need that to introduce them to the crowd. But for people like Mercedes, bro, you don't need to show her ever. It just needs to be she shows up and you get the holy shit, she's here. Like that's how you're like, yo, that's a star right there. Like, and you know she's a star. You're just accentuating that. So
yeah,
I can understand both sides of the argument on that. But I definitely feel like it was kind of, and then look, now what happened after that? Nothing. We haven't heard about her. We haven't seen her do anything. She hasn't said nothing. She hasn't done shit.
I'm hoping we see her with full gear for obvious reasons. One, because I'll be in attendance, but two, it's in LA. Like how that is Hollywood. You know what I mean? It's like that's kind of a good spot to debut her.
Hey, you're gonna get to see an Edge match.
Yeah, hopefully. I assume the route it's going with him starting off with Luchasaurus. You think they instantly jump into like Edge versus Christian? You think it's gonna go?
Yeah, right? I mean they're part of that whole angle, so you know they're just kind of they got introduced into that angle, so it only makes sense. People were like, "Oh, he's wrestling Luchasaurus. What the fuck?" I'm like, "Well, duh. What the fuck do you want him to do? He's wrestling the guy who's involved in this whole fucking angle. Yeah, he's wrestling Luchasaurus. Makes sense to me."
Yeah, like what's he gonna fight Christian right away? I could maybe
go straight to Christian.
I guess I'll admit I was a little shocked when they said they was gonna wrestle as soon as he did. To be honest,
yeah, like literally in a couple days. It's like, wow, really? Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I think the reason being, right, because this is the business side of things. Like Tony said, they're gonna be on Tuesday next week, which is also the same day as NXT.
I wanted to ask you about that.
What we don't give a fuck about ratings, to be honest. Right. I think AEW is going to win because they naturally just do higher. And I don't know, to me, like it's not like they're like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, not a big sports night. So if, like, oh shit, AEW is on Tuesday next week. Cool. I'll watch it just like I would on Wednesday. So I don't see it. And to be honest, if WWE really gives a fuck about ratings and like wants to win for some reason, you know, because Tony's going to be like, Tony, I love him, but we won the Tuesday Night Wars.
Yeah, he's really got to stop that shit. Nothing beats. I really hope that somebody gets in his ear and tells him, like, bro, can you just calm down with that shit?
Yeah, he's got to he's got to kind of chill on that and the whole like being a mark thing at the same time. I love him because he's a fan. He's what we all are, and that's what I love about him. But unless, like, to be honest, if you really care, unless you bring in like fucking John Cena for some reason, like. You're not going to be 8.
Yo, if I see a promo that says John Cena is going to be on NXT next week, I'll be like, oh, Triple H, you motherfucker, man. You really,
like
dude.
That's the only way he's there. They would win that night. You know what I mean?
And I mean, they got Becky there. They could, we'll talk about a little bit about No Mercy later too, but they could pull some shit. Because look, Becky got NXT into the fucking million views a couple of weeks ago. They could pull some shit where they have the triple, you know, the blow off match between her and Tiffany Stratton, and kind of, you know, they could do it. They could tease Jade. They could do a lot of different shit. I wouldn't surprise me if they did it, dude. It wouldn't surprise me.
I guess now we'll dive into the cards. I figure we go up match by match. Some will talk a little.
I mean, we can. We don't really have to, but you know, I just put them all there in case there was something. I just like to put them there so that I can kind of refresh them.
So overall thoughts, my overall thoughts on both shows. I thought both shows were great. You know what? We got to do one time, because I say this, I feel every time. But this weekend of Wrestles is definitely up there as one of the best, in my opinion. Because I thought Wrestle Dream was great, and I thought No Mercy was great. Yeah, because one thing, so Becky Lynch and Tiffany Stratton, we'll dive into that. I guess first one up there kind of quick.
Yeah.
But man, all I'm going to say is great match. Girls beat the shit out of each other. I was happy it was the main event, but man, Tiffany Stratton just gets it. For having no experience prior to WWE, she's got the look, she's got the skill set. Like we were saying in the chat, she hits that swanton clean. She's getting the promos down. Like, I hate being the guy because we could always be wrong, but there's no way she's not a bona fide superstar when she's on the main roster.
Yeah, she
just gets it. I'm a fan of her. Like, I thoroughly enjoy watching her.
Yeah, I've never really seen like somebody lose their title and then lose the follow-up match, and I'm still like, holy fuck, like this person is this person's a star, like a star. Like what bugs me out about her is that, like, you know, sometimes with certain women, I'm not gonna, you know, I don't have to name anybody in particular or whatever, and I'm not even really thinking of anyone in particular. But sometimes when you watch like women matches with women who are like not that experienced, you notice like they're waiting, like they do the wait to do the arm drag and then do the arm drag, or like, you know, they hit the rope slowly and then like turn around, you know, like you see that it's like, okay, like, because when you watch wrestling, for people who aren't that experienced with watching actual wrestling, it's snappy. Like you bounce off the ropes, you go, you snap suplex, this and that. So when people are waiting, it's like they're learning, and it's, you know, and that's fine, you're learning. But bro, Tiffany Stratton is like, another thing about her is that like sometimes a lot of women are kind of timid when it gets to be like real physical, like, and Tiffany Stratton is like, the thing is that bugs me out is her character. When you look at her, she's like a beautiful, like blonde bombshell looking type of girl, like girly girl, but she fucking gets it in. Like she's jumping off the top rope through tables, she's bleeding, she's beating the shit out of Becky, Becky's beating the shit out of her. It's like, no, bro, she's not some, you know, just a pretty face. Like she's out there looking to fuck somebody up. And like, I love that. Like it's one of my favorite things about women's wrestling is like the physical nature. Like when they get it in like that, I'm sold. I'm completely sold on that person.
She's one of my favorite women in wrestling right now to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, to be honest, there's only like 3 people I really get excited to see on NXT, and if I know they're doing something cool, I definitely tune in. It's her, the next person, the next match, Carmelo Hayes, and then Trick Williams. Like, those are the 3 that I'm like, yo, like I want to see. But Carmelo Hayes dropped his title, and I'm happy to who he dropped it to. Dragunov.
What a fucking match.
He deserved it. People are saying this is in a running for like a top 10, top 5 match of the year.
Yeah.
They beat shit out of each other. I liked it. I thought it was great. You know, just a great match. Like, yo, Carmelo, another one. Like, he says it. He's him. Like, he's another one that, you know, I think if done right on the main roster could easily be like a world champion.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to have like because I think Carmelo's about to move up.
You think like at the Rumble or something, maybe?
I think he's about to move up. So I'm wondering if like they're going to do like a blow-off match between him and Trick, because you kind of see how he was like touching the North American Championship like a little too long when he was like thanking Trick, not thanking, when he was congratulating Trick Williams at the end of that show.
Yeah.
So I kind of thought, hey, maybe they'll do like a match between them on NXT, maybe at a pay-per-view, or maybe on the next NXT show or whatever. And that's going to be like Carmelo's farewell. And then he kind of puts Trick over, and then Trick can kind of, you know, continue on in NXT for whatever time he's going to be there. But they already had Trick on Raw last night, bro. I'm like, damn.
He looks like he's a big dude. He looks like he belongs. I'll say this, man. Lou and I think about, we're not really the biggest weekly NXT watchers.
Right.
But from what these pay-per-views bring and what I read online, it really does sound like NXT is just a constant hit. Like, yeah, I think I don't think he'll ever be black and gold. And I think the reason why is because I'm one of them. Like, I will always think the Attitude Era is the best era of wrestling because that's when it was popular. That's when I was really watching. Like, nothing will ever beat it. And that's how I kind of feel with Black and Gold. But the one thing I like about this new NXT versus the old, once Vince and Bruce and all them took over and made it 2.0 with like all the different colors, it definitely went through a cold streak. But I think this NXT in a weird way, not saying Triple H was, but I think this, you have a more guaranteed with, say, Tiffany Stratton, say she was in Black and Gold, right? Or like you use Shayna Baszler as an example. She was the best thing in NXT Black and Gold. Then came up and has been, had her highs and lows. Where right now with a Tiffany Stratton, she's on her highs, and I think it's going to continue on the main roster because the way now that they're kind of involved, I think it's a smoother pipeline of like, hey, this dude or chick's going to be successful. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Yeah, and it's funny because you summed it up perfectly. Black and Gold was its own thing. Now it's funny because Black and Gold relied more on indie stars to kind of, they had all the indie stars, bro. They had everybody. They had Finn, they had Adam Cole, they had Karrion Kross. And that was towards like the end or whatever. But with all these dudes, they weren't really like homegrown people. They were like Evolve people, PWG people that they just kind of grabbed from everywhere. And they had their run, and it was great, and I loved it. And those, you did have your homegrown stars like Sasha Banks and Bayley and Charlotte. They did have homegrown stars, but for the most part, was a lot of indie darlings. And we went through that weird 2.0 NXT thing where it sucked. I was not a big fan, and I tuned out. I really did. I just tuned out. They lost because they really lost me. But watching, I always watch the pay-per-views though. I may not watch them live, but I definitely make it a point to watch them afterwards at some point, maybe like on a Sunday or on a Monday, just because I know that the pay-per-views are always going to have at least 2 or 3 matches that I'm going to really enjoy. And right now, bro, that show, I didn't see a bad match on that show. No. Like, I did not see one bad match. It was even Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, it wasn't like great, and that it didn't blow me away, but it wasn't a bad match.
And I'm happy Baron won, to be honest.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was like, holy shit, like really? He came out as that's because he came out as the Undertaker. That's why he won the match.
He's the new Undertaker.
So I was like, what is this, bro?
And then
again, even a match that I wasn't like a big fan of because I didn't really understand the this cup thing that they're doing.
The Heritage Cup.
Yeah, and I didn't even really understand it. But as the match was going, I was like, oh, okay, they get 20-second breaks. Okay, that's kind of cool. It's kind of like a Pure Rules kind of thing. It's like their version of Pure Rules matches. And the match itself, though, was great. Like, it was great. And, of course, it's Pete Dunne. Anything that Pete Dunne does is
it's
gonna be a fucking great match. But not a bad match on the show, honestly. No. Like, I really enjoyed it.
I know Lou and I, there are 2 things you'll get cheers for and chants out of Lou and I each week. It's whoop that trick and swerve when I drive. And whoop that trick right now it's getting up there. And I think Booker T makes it in a way. Because I'll say this, whoop that trick was popular, but Booker T I think got it popular.
Yeah.
And the only thing I'm concerned is whenever that dude, because I don't see Trick going up to the main roster anytime soon. I think he'll be the NXT champion, in my opinion. I think he will be. I just hope that, Wade Barrett or Michael Cole or someone.
Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick.
I think there's only really one commentator who could maybe get that over. And he's not even active all the time. And maybe because I'm a mark for him is Pat McAfee. I think Pat McAfee could maybe get it. But, maybe
they're gonna have to figure that out. They're either gonna have to bring Booker T up and put him back on Raw or SmackDown, and put him back on the announcing on those shows or something, or they're just gonna have to let the crowd do it.
Yeah, that
I don't need Michael Cole doing whoop that trick. I really don't need that.
But you don't think if they made it in a fun way, like where Michael Cole is like, yeah, what? Like I don't know, because
I would have to hear it.
Yeah,
I would have to hear it, bro. Because come on, bro. Booker T.
Oh no one does it better than Booker.
Booker T is on. He's on because I wish that they would show Booker T when he's doing that shit because they don't show Booker T doing it.
Because
They
I
just have
think
him
that wasn't
talking.
planned. I think that was Booker T just doing it.
Yeah.
I don't think Shawn Michaels was in his ear saying,
No,
"Hey, you're gonna
no.
go what?"
Nah,
Yeah,
that's
like, I
straight.
don't
That's
think that
straight
was a
Booker.
thing. That was just
I highly doubt that Shawn Michaels. I highly doubt that Booker T's wearing an earpiece when he's on commentary. I don't
I
think
mean,
Shawn
remember
Michaels
he
is
was
telling
ordering
him a damn
chicken.
thing.
Remember he was ordering food during NXT
Yeah, he was
with a
doing
wife beater.
DoorDash.
With a wife beater.
That shit was so crazy.
But yeah,
I
I'm
love
happy.
Booker T, man.
I'm happy Trick
Fucking
won.
awesome.
And in a weird way, well, I'm happy Dominic doesn't have the title just because he's not always on NXT. Like he was being shown a lot, but he had some good matches with that title, I'll say.
Yeah. He got a big win over Dragon Lee. So, I mean,
you think,
big, clean win over Dragon Lee, bro.
And the rematch is tonight, which I'll probably tune in to see.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, just overall good show. Unless you have anything crazy to add, I don't have much more to add on No Mercy.
Yeah.
I guess match of the night for you?
saw some people saying that the tag team match was not good. I thought that fucking match was great.
Yeah, same.
I thought that match was great. Like I don't know I don't know. I just saw some discourse about people talking about that match. I thought it was fucking great, dude. Another thing I liked about the card is that 7 matches. And again, not we'll talk about Wrestle Dream in a second because I was telling Nick, I feel like Wrestle Dream flew by for me. I didn't feel like it was too long at all. But it's just something about those NXT shows that they're
smooth
2 hours and you're done, bro. It's really great. Because if it would have been like a 3-hour show, I would have been like, oh my fucking god, come on. Like,
yeah,
it's too much wrestling.
Now let me ask you, and I don't really see it happening only because WWE does a lot of main roster pay-per-views on Saturday now. But say they were to go back to the Sunday construct. Because if you haven't noticed, NXT is doing these pay-per-views on the road, but not in big arenas like they used to. Like, if you remember, like SummerSlam was in Barclays, so was NXT Brooklyn. Do you think NXT could sell out an arena like that now? Like, say Fastlane, it's on this Saturday. Say it was Sunday. Do you think Saturday they could? Not yet?
Not a chance.
No?
Not a fucking chance.
Huh?
I don't think, and I say that because when you look at last night how Johnny Gargano came out and everybody, there was like 5 people jumping up and down in the crowd, and most of the people were
Did
like,
you see that one dude who was slapping his chest?
One guy was hyped, but like I think it's partly also because they changed his music, so it was like they didn't really recognize Rebel Heart. But even he's in there like trying to get them hyped, and they're like, "Oh, hey, Johnny Gargano, that's that guy who we saw like maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 6 months."
Yeah, because I know he was hurt for a little, and
Johnny Gargano's great. Like Johnny Gargano is one of the best NXT champions ever. He's had 5-star matches on NXT with fucking everybody. But
them doing DIY is better for him than Ciampa, because I think Ciampa, he started off rough, of course, came up with The Miz, like on his side.
Yeah.
But Ciampa going into that match, Ciampa's like over with the crowd now. And I was there the week before. Like, people know who Ciampa is now.
Was there some type of change or something that happened yesterday on Raw that I don't know about? Because that was very weird how they did that whole thing. Like, they were doing a contract signing, and all of a sudden it was like, nah, fuck it, let's have the match tonight.
So they never said when the match was going to be for. It was never like, hey, this is going to be on
I thought it was going to be a Fastlane.
That's what I thought too. I think maybe just they do go up against Monday Night Football, so maybe it's the whole let's try to keep the viewers in thing. Like, I think personally during football season, we're going to see a lot more title matches on Raw, even if it's obvious ones where like Gunther's going to win. Like, we're just going to, I think, just whatever. But yeah, no, I thought it was a good show. And then now we're driving to Wrestle Dream. I thought Wrestle Dream was great. Like Lou said, for me, it kind of went by slower, but I'm not going to be the one to be like, oh, because the matches were great. I was just exhausted on Sunday. Like, dead ass, I was just exhausted. And the crazy thing is, it didn't hit me until the semi-main event where I was like, all right, FTR, Aussie Open, love teams, whatever. Well, FTR, we had a conversation earlier. I'm whatever with them. But, like, I was just ready for that to end. And maybe it's because I was getting anxious, thinking like, yo, I know the main event's going to be good and Edge might show up. So maybe that's some, but I there wasn't a match on this show that I didn't really not enjoy. I thought
Yeah.
Julia Hart has improved tremendously. MJF winning against the Righteous was cool. Yeah, I liked everything. I don't know where you want to start off at. I was shocked that Jericho, that the Don Callis family won.
He's Jericho looking up at the lights, right? Very strange.
Yeah, and then they made on the graphic, or they made it known like Kenny Omega hasn't won a pay-per-view in forever, essentially.
Yeah, but that's I mean, I kind of like that because Kenny needs to be, Kenny needs to go back to being a heel, going after the championship, bro. The heel Kenny Omega is what that company needs. Him being mixed up with all this bullshit and trying to be a baby face and teaming up with all these other people. Like, I'm not. Yeah, it was kind of cool that he teamed up with Jericho, but like now Jericho went and trademarked a name for them, the Golden Jets, and like they want to thinking about going on a tag team run. Like, I don't want to.
Which
I don't
they
wanna
are.
see that shit,
They're
bro.
tagging. They're tagging together tomorrow.
I don't want to see that shit. I want to see Kenny Omega doing Kenny Omega shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need him as a baby face. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. But I don't hate it, but it's just like I'd prefer him to be a heel. But this card, again, so when I showed up to the theater, I got there at 6:30 something, and they had started like the pre-show, and then they had pre-show match. So I caught all the pre-show matches and the full card. And I'll tell you, bro, I was enjoying every match as it came. I was having a good time, and I didn't feel like I wasn't like, oh my God. Like, and I felt like that before at AEW shows, and I've enjoyed the shows. Like we've talked about many times, we've enjoyed all these pay-per-views very much. But there was a few where I was like, oh my God, this match, I forgot about this match. Yeah. I didn't feel like that about this card. Like, I enjoyed everything. I think some standouts for sure. I want to say Julia Hart and Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander right now is on a roll. Like, I'm so happy for her because she's one of those people who gets on a roll and something horrible happens. And knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it.
Nope.
But she's on a fucking super roll right now. And Julia Hart, super impressed with her. Like, her presentation, her wrestling ability is like super improved. Like, she's really good. She's really
grown.
Good. MJF is just, he's hilarious, bro. MJF is hilarious. I really like the Righteous. I know a lot of people seem to not like them. I like the Righteous. I will say, if you had to remove a match from this card, as much as I enjoyed the match, I really don't think we needed that tag team turmoil to determine.
I
we
agree.
Didn't need to have that on this show.
And I don't think the Bucks needed to win again.
Yeah, like, and it's funny about that because people were like, oh, of course the Bucks win. They're the CEOs and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, how many times have you seen the Bucks lose? Those motherfuckers lose all the time. Yeah. They lose titles. They lose big matches. That shit happens all the time. So I just don't. Like they're always winning.
I just don't want them in FTR again, only because it was just so soon.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they're just setting up that Full Gear. You know, they want to have a match at Full Gear. I guess they're just kind of setting that thing up.
They're California natives. Like, it makes sense. And that's why I don't get it.
You know, I mean, I get it, but I will agree with you that, again, because we're in the same boat with this FTR thing. Like, I like FTR. But during that match, I literally was like, I was looking at my phone and I was looking up like, oh, yeah. It's like, I don't know what happened with FTR where I just I'm like bored with them. Like,
are we before? Because I thought Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. was great.
That is a match of the year contender and quite possibly, bro, I'll say this without, and I know, you know, the new.
You think this might be the
new shiny toy? New shiny toy syndrome when it's fresh in my mind, but god damn it, if that was not one of the best technical wrestling match, I think like probably the best technical wrestling match I've ever seen. Like,
so you enjoyed that better than Kenny and Will from Wrestle Kingdom?
Well, that wasn't. What I mean is like a technical wrestling match. Technical. Like that wasn't a that was a war. That was two motherfuckers trying to kill each other. That was like a blood feud. But as far as like having a technical wrestling match, I don't know if I can name a better one than that. I
It's
know
up.
I've seen. I
Sure.
know Owen Hart and Bret Hart was probably like the king of that for all these decades.
Yeah.
As far as like a technical wrestling, but dude, that was insane. Some of the shit that they did in that match, and the finish was great because it's like you can set up the next one because he's like,
Yep.
nah, bro, you didn't tap me out, you didn't pin me, you had to use a strike, and we're supposed to be figure out who's the best technical wrestler, and you use a strike.
Yep.
So I was like, beautiful, let's do it again.
And then, yeah, I loved it. I loved I loved Mox's commentary all night.
Oh,
too.
dude, yeah,
You have to like not.
I
be
had
in-
no idea that he could do that. So now, whenever he retires, I need him on commentary.
dropping F-bombs. He was hysterical. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, that shit's hilarious. Like they're trying to call the match, and he just stands up and he's like, "Kick his fucking ass, Claudio! Don't take any shit, Claudio.
I want to know if he really
Get
got
him!"
fined because he came back later and said, "I got
Like,
fined."
yo, yeah, but it's a pay-per-view. Like,
Yeah.
oh, actually, no, it was on the pre-show. Does that matter? It was
Well,
on
that's
YouTube.
on you. No, because Pat McAfee and them on YouTube say fuck all the time.
Yeah, I mean it's on YouTube. I don't think they would get fined or in trouble or anything like that. That's,
Well, no, Moxley said he got fined, like from.
Oh,
I
okay.
doubt it. I doubt it because if Tony really didn't like what he did, he wouldn't have sent him back out there.
Yeah.
I was so
and of
happy.
course, Eddie Kingston and Shibata.
Oh, yeah, right up your alley. I knew you were in heaven for that.
Fucking match.
Yeah. Yeah, Shibata, he's fucking great.
Bro,
Eddie
Shibata is
Kingston,
fucking awesome.
great.
I really would love to see Shibata get like a proper like world title run, like an actual world champion run. That guy, I'm telling you, this one of those dudes that like I knew really nothing about until like last year. And now when I see Shibata, I love that dude. Like I love his character that he's just like I hate that I keep repeating myself, but it's like there's no pyro, there's no dancing, there's no fucking he comes out on the stage and does some fancy ricochet, they always got to do some shit. They always got to do some shit when they step out into the thing. No, he walks out, he holds up his title like, yep, I'm the champion, and he walks to the ring ready to fight. Like that's it. That's all he does.
Yep. And Eddie's same way. And then it was great. I loved the Swerve Hangman match personally.
Oh, another match of the year contender.
And I'm happy Swerve got the dub.
And he got a big dub too, because that's one of the pillars of the company right there. Beat him clean. No shenanigans. A little bit of shenanigans. But
1, 2, 3 clean at least. Yeah. Main event was great. Okay. Darby's got to chill at some point a little bit, right?
That dude has to relax, bro.
Like, I don't sound like a loser saying that.
Nah. You know what's funny? What I was thinking about, I was like, the first thing I thought about when he said Edge is going to be wrestling full time and he's going to be wrestling on Dynamite, I was like, man, I really hope this guy doesn't get hurt because
they're aggressive.
They do some crazy. Yeah, that's the perfect word. They're a little aggressive over there in AEW, bro. And they're going to have to introduce a little bit of that slowdown. You have to relax because you can't be doing dives and all that shit. Like, I know you're healthy, but we want you to stay healthy. And then I thought about it and I was like, the first bump that he takes in AEW is on in the ring with no padding. That's the first bump that he takes. He spears this Nick Wayne and he spears fucking Luchasaurus with no padding on the ring. He just takes a wood bump. I'm like, great. That's how he's starting his career. Well, his AEW career, the rated R era, which by the way, both of us are super marks. We both made shirt purchases the same night that he debuted. I don't think I've ever done that. Not even with CM Punk. I bought his shit like a day or two later.
Yep.
Literally on the fucking watching the scrum and I'm on Pro Wrestling, like ordering my shirt.
You got to show love to him.
And that shirt's hard. I like that shirt a lot.
Yeah.
That shirt's
I love it. Yeah, I just thought great. Like I said, we spoke in the debut. So I really don't want to speak on it again too much, but because I don't want to take away from the match either. The match was good.
Yeah,
okay, the one thing I want to speak of, Christian is just the man.
Darby up and dumped him right on the corner of the fucking bro.
I've always liked Christian. I'll admit I'm one who've always liked Edge just better than Christian. I just have. I've never not liked Christian. I just prefer Edge.
And I think that's like pretty much, that's the consensus. It's
like,
so,
I'd
Edge
say
has always
7
been
out
like,
of 10 people are gonna say Edge over Christian. But if you say
Edge
Christian over Edge, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, that's fine.
But Christian's just on another level, and him roasting Brian Alvarez was so fucking funny. I don't care what anyone says, because you can take shots at Dave Meltzer and he'll poke his fun and Sean Ross Sapp and all that, but Brian Alvarez is the one that just takes things personal with the wrestlers, and I just don't like that personally. Like when he said, like, he told Austin Theory he needs to stop listening to all this bullshit, and it's like, like, my guy, he's been in the ring with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. I think he's doing something kind of right.
Yeah, I think he's all right.
Like,
I might not like him, but he seems to be doing all right. Somebody likes him.
Yeah,
his ass is on TV every week.
He beat John Cena at WrestleMania. Like, he's doing something. Like, you know what I mean?
I just like how people seem to constantly always pick on Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez on these scrums. If you remember a couple pay-per-views ago, MJF when he beat Danielson, that's who he was talking to when he came out in the scrum, and he was like, "Oh, who's your favorite now, huh, Brian? Huh? Is it Kenny Omega? Huh? That's your favorite? Is that your favorite? Huh? You like him? Yeah, keep laughing, jackass. I'm the fucking man now."
Yeah, and then and it's funny because Brian Alvarez tried being smooth and bringing up, "Well, I wrestled Nick Wayne's dad," and he's like, "You suck. That's why I'm here, and you're not." But to be honest, is it not the truth in a fucked up way?
Yeah. Brian Alvarez does wrestle, but he's not like, he wasn't out there grinding, and he's had specialties. He's had matches, just, I'm not saying he can't wrestle, but he's not like he was going to New Japan and doing all these things. Like, he had, like, little matches here and there and stuff. So
I'm just
which is cool. I wish I could do that. I can't. So I'm not
never. But I just thought it was a great show overall.
Hell yeah.
Great show. I guess before we close out, a couple of news things I just read while on here. PWI Insider is reporting that Jade Cargill is going to be in Indianapolis for Fastlane.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But
are there any matches announced for that card yet? Besides, they did one yesterday.
Yeah, but women's wise, so Rhea doesn't have a match. So
I don't think there's any. I don't think Io Sky has a match either. So
no, they have the triple threat: Io, Asuka.
Io and Charlotte, and
so from what I'm tracking, it's Io, Asuka, and Charlotte. Cena,
there you go.
Cena and LA Knight.
Right.
The Bloodline.
Did you hear the LA Knight chance? They tried to get LA Knight chance on I think it was it Collision or was it the pay-per-view?
I think the Collision. I don't remember during the pay-per-view.
Yeah, people were they were going, what? Yeah. Like, instead of what, they were saying yeah. And I'm like, man, cut that shit out.
I hate that.
Leave corny as fuck.
Do the company chance in the company.
That's fucking corny.
There's that. There's just announced Cody and Jay versus the Judgment Day for the titles. And then Nakamura and Rollins last man standing.
And Thunder Rosa is so fine. God damn.
Bold prediction: Damian Priest is world champion Saturday.
Ooh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
That's my bold prediction. I think he cashed in. But yeah, there was that. And then
so he's gonna have the tag team titles, or are they gonna lose the tag team titles? And then he's gonna he's gonna cash in.
Yeah, true. If he loses the titles, he's definitely cashing in. But I don't know.
I don't know what he's waiting for.
Cody and Jay as tag champs, I don't know. I guess that adds more fuel to the fire of Cody with the bloodline bullshit. If they're going that route.
It's funny because what's funny is that, like, I kind of want to see Nakamura take the title off him. With all this stuff,
I do, and there are people. Did you hear that WWE just finalized like a new deal with some company or something in Japan, and there might be crossover with Noah.
Oh, wow.
And on the Raw and SmackDown ads in Japan, like, Nakamura was the big guy for Raw. So people are thinking, I don't think so. I'd be cool with Nakamura winning, but people are thinking Nakamura might win since that's a new big deal, kind of like what they did with Jinder Mahal winning the title.
Wow.
The way they've done this is they're really dragging out Seth's back injury, which is real and all that shit, right? From all the years of wrestling, like everyone, like they all have, rightfully so, with all the bumps. But like if Nakamura wins, it wouldn't be shocking. Like that's the thing. And I kind of would like to see it. So I guess Saturday, would you rather Priest leave champion or Nakamura?
That's the thing, though. Like, I don't want Nakamura to win and then he gets cashed in on. That would fucking suck. So
but say one of them can win only because Seth,
you know what though?
to be honest, if we're being really honest, Seth's probably walking out champion. But if you had to pick between Priest or Nakamura, leaving with it.
I'm going Priest. I mean, it's fucking Damian Priest, bro.
Yeah,
what I think would be cool is if Seth and because it's a street fight or something, right?
Last man standing.
Oh, last man standing. So I think it'd be cool if like Priest does what Seth Rollins did, which is cash in the briefcase and make that shit a triple threat, bro. They haven't done that shit in a while.
No,
they haven't done that shit in forever, bro. That'd be fucking dope as fuck. Just let them have a match for like, halfway through the match, have Priest come out and be like, I want in on this bitch, and cash his briefcase in and boom, make it a triple threat.
Yeah. I don't know yet. We got another pay-per-view this weekend.
Fuck. Fastlane. Yeah, they need to work on that card. I will say that because the good thing is that it's on Saturday. So I don't have to watch it because Collision, I kind of feel like I if I'm home on Saturday, I want to watch Collision. Like I want to watch it live because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to whatever because the pay-per-view is going to be there on Peacock in the morning.
See, but I hate missing the pay-per-view live though. Because then I already know I already know what's going to happen.
And I think I prefer that because it's harder for me to catch Collision the next day because TNT may or may not upload it. Like sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not, bro.
Hey, you got to
have to go to Daily Motion and have to. It's a pain in the ass.
You got to do what I've done sometimes, which I used to do honestly when NXT and AEW first started like together. I had AEW on the big TV, and I had NXT on the iPad.
You're like, that's like some.
I was that guy,
like a sportscaster. You're
not for real. Yeah, for the first 2 months of AEW versus NXT, I did it. Then I was like, I'm just watching AEW. I can watch NXT whenever.
Because I don't feel like I feel like I'm missing. I mean, I guess not, because it's kind of like Red Zone. It's like Red Zone's the same thing. Yeah, I watch Red Zone. I love watching Red Zone. Like I really do. I almost prefer watching it over watching my game.
And what I used to do is like perfect example. Say MJF came out for a promo, I had the volume on that, and if like say it was Adam Cole and Riddle wrestling, like I would lower that volume because I can see, but I'd rather hear the promo than hear the match. Yeah, but I got the match card. So like I said, Cena and Knight versus Solo and Jimmy, Nakamura and.
Oh, how about that pop? How about that pop LA Knight got when he came out, bro?
He's gonna get a bigger pop than I think Cena on.
That was some attitude. I posted it on the Instagram page. If you guys missed it, you can check it out there. That was a attitude era type pop shit when he came out to help Cena.
Then
and I love that. I love his music. That's just LA Knight, and they're like when they say Knight, the beat drops like right when it says Knight. That shit's hard, bro.
Then you got Io Sky versus Asuka versus Charlotte, which I could see Charlotte winning that one, sadly.
Boo.
Yeah. Then the tag titles, Judgment Day versus Cody and Jay. Oh, and then this one. This one seems like it can be good. LWO. It's going to be Rey Mysterio, Santos Escobar, and then one of either Joaquin Wilde or Cruz del Toro versus Bobby Lashley and the Profits.
I'm sorry, bro. The LWO does absolutely nothing for me. They really don't. They just lose and lose and lose.
Because Bobby and the Street Profits aren't losing this.
And really, you're going to put those three fucking midgets up against Bobby Lashley? You can have all three of them in a handicap match with Bobby Lashley, and they'd still lose.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but think this is going to do it for us. I guess I'll plug us first. We had a great show. I enjoyed it very much today. Great weekend of wrestling. AEW's on fire right now. Looking forward to Dynamite tomorrow because we're going to hear from Adam Copland. So we'll see what he has to say. Then he's got.
I'm actually super excited about I'm super excited to see where AEW goes now.
Yeah,
Because
it's an end of an era.
Edge is a big deal, bro. Like, I know we
Yes.
kind of downplayed it a little bit asking about the Punk thing,
No,
but
Edge,
he's a
that's a
big
massive
deal,
signing.
man.
That's a
Like the debut video, it's right now it's at 350 million views. Like it's already the number
that
one.
has the most views of any AEW whatever.
Any video ever on AEW's page. It's the highest viewed video on any of their videos.
I've watched it like 10 times.
Yeah, for real. Like I've already watched it a few times. Let me see if I can. While you're plugging, let me see.
You think you know him?
Pull it up.
But so very excited to see what's gonna happen for AEW.
3.4 million views.
And it was at 3.3 earlier, like a few hours ago when I watched at work. So it's already gained another 100,000.
Bro.
So it's just gonna go up. But yeah, great week coming for AEW. WWE pay-per-view. We'll see what comes from there. But it's going to do it for us. So for me, you can follow me on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, and Instagram, Nick Anicelli. Follow our Twitter X at wrestlingistrash. But most importantly, the YouTube. Another great week. We got some new subscribers, great views. We thank you guys as always. Comment, share, subscribe. Comment, though. Let's get them comments up. You know, we know y'all watching. So throw your comments out there. Make fun of us. Do whatever you want to do. Throw your thoughts. We really, really want to hear it. But that's all I got. But most importantly, like I said, please listen to the YouTube at Wrestling is Trash. What you got for him, Lou?
Hell yeah. That's our bread and butter, man. We really enjoy doing the show on YouTube. It's the easiest way for us to communicate with everybody. And the views speak to us. So it's nice to be able to see the views on there. Whereas, like, you know, we appreciate the audio listeners too, of course. But it's easier to see metrics on YouTube for us. So it's just kind of like something, it kind of motivates us to do better for you guys when you guys show us how much you enjoy our content. So we enjoy making it for you. So, you know, follow on YouTube, Wrestling is Trash. Just type that into the search. It'll pop right up where we just hit a milestone with subscribers, which is very cool. I was going to say the number, but I didn't want to say the number.
Some might laugh,
right.
But we love it.
But we love it. For me, it's incredible. But I know some people will be like, man, sure, you guys.
Y'all ain't shit.
Listen, bro. For me, the fact that many people have signed up for our page for me is incredible. So I'm super happy. And check us out on YouTube, man. Follow, click on the shorts, click on the videos, watch whatever you want. Click like, share it, drop a comment on the show if you feel like you saw a match of the year contender and one of the shows that we talked about. Let us know. We can go back. You can come on the show. We can talk about it. We can do all the things. We'll put your comment. I'll put your comment right there on the screen in one of our short videos. I does this. So yeah, and check us out on Instagram, Wrestling is Trash. On there, the link. You click on the link in the Wrestling is Trash page, and you'll find a list of all our content. So that will wrap it up for us on this. Another glorious episode of Wrestling is Trash on a Trash Tuesday. I am Lou from the BX. That is Nicholas Anicelli, and we are out. Enjoy wrestling.